Thank you for tuning in. This week's episode focuses on some heavier topics, so viewer discretion is advised. We've linked resources and support in the show notes.
How important do you think it is for, service providers and anyone that is working hands-on with a client? How important is it for them to understand how to approach specific, sensitive topics or conversations, whether it be about the client's health or maybe something that they're going through personally that they need assistance and help with?
I think this is going to be a really good episode because we've all been in positions in our past lives where we have either been hands-on with clients or even managing a team. This is a very people-heavy industry and we have to have a lot of emotional IQ. And so being able to look out for things of either, emotional distress, health distress, whatever it may be, not even with our clients specifically, but I think a lot with our team members, our peers, and making sure that we are kind of like their guardian angels in terms of looking out for things that we could potentially be support systems for.
A couple of you guys know my story. Like, this holds a dear place to my heart because I've experienced domestic violence firsthand. So having programs like Cut It Out are incredibly powerful. Like, I didn't know about these things when I was starting out my career. So I was 17 when I started dating someone who within the second year of our relationship started to be emotionally abusive and physically violent towards me. So in this, I think I was about 18 when I started working in salons. While I was dealing with this at home, I was coming to work every day and still being the manager and doing the front desk thing and putting a smile on my face, doing all the things. And I have just recently become more comfortable in sharing my experience. I even had a quick talk with Leslie about it where we discuss how hard it is to really share these things. And I don't carry any shame around it. I was basically a child when I met this person. And it was very easy to look at it and validate what was happening. Oh, well, I said this or I did that, or oh, I fought back, which was my go-to. When I finally got the courage to leave that relationship, I'll never forget. I woke up October 2nd and he was sleeping next to me and I was he's going to kill me. Is literally how I felt. This person was actually going to end my life one day and I wasn't going to make it through. So I super calmly grabbed a bag and I started packing his things, right? And for whatever odd, crazy reason, he just didn't fight me that day, right? It was a very emotional experience. We were both crying and I think there was a part of him that knew that this was it. We neither one of us could do this anymore. And I took him to a Greyhound station and I put him on a bus back to the Bay. And so last year, actually, I got a call letting me know that he had passed away. And I always knew I was going to get that call, So he had an issue with alcohol. He, obviously had an addiction problem with drugs. There was a lot of things going on with this individual. So I always knew that was going to happen. It was just a matter of time as when. And so, in this past year, I've had to really revisit what happened, right? And I've had to make peace with it and also understanding that without that relationship and even the abuse that I went through, I wouldn't have my wonderful partner that I have now. I wouldn't have my beautiful son that I have now, and I get to live in this life, while he's no longer here. So when I shared this story and what happened with a lot of people and even people who knew me when all of those things were happening, I got a lot of well, thank God, or karma's a bitch, or ugh, good riddance type, responses, which is very understandable. But for me, I actually had a moment where I prayed for his soul. And I said, I hope he could find wherever he is, the people that made him feel the safest and made him feel loved, because I've had to spend pretty much the last 12, 13, 14 years, undoing a lot of what I learned there. And I'll finish this with when I was coming out of that relationship, I lived in a place where my garage was under my home and I had to walk up a flight of stairs. And I remember it was week 1 and I had a bunch of groceries and a pack of water bottles and all of that. And I remember thinking oh my God, how am I going to get all of this stuff up to my house. Like I was so like weak in how I felt about myself and like where I was that I didn't know how I was going to get groceries from my trunk up to my home. And like you guys know me, like I'm like bulletproof at this point, right? Like I feel like I could do like anything in this world. So I think it's important to remember that abuse and surviving it looks very differently, and it's sometimes a lot closer than you think, and sometimes it's like the strongest person you know that has gone through it. So I'm very grateful for people and places like the PBA and creating programs that not only help them identify it in clients, but help, people in our industry get a brand new start if they are leaving some sort of abusive situation.
I always say check on your strong friends also, because you don't know necessarily what they're going through. And yeah, I mean, that, and as well as like PBA and what Cut It Out is doing, is going to be extremely helpful, just also because of, the interactions that certain people are having with their clients, and they may need help after, approaching a conversation with them on like next steps and giving resources. So they're really doing some really good work. And I was just hoping that it was something that you had during that time, because it is hard, like trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, I was like floored to learn that they had been around for like 30 years or something. I'm like, like I wish I knew that these resources existed. So that's why I'm like super excited that we get the opportunity to share this,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you run a beauty business, which means you wear like 7 hats, right? Boulevard's all-in-one client experience platform lightens the load. Think seamless scheduling, automated marketing, and built-in ways to make more revenue. Less stress, more success. For a limited time, we're offering podcast listeners 10% off plus free guided setup. Get started at joinblvd.com/podcast.
Today's guest is Leslie Perry, Executive Director of the Professional Beauty Association, aka PBA. She got her start in her mom's salon, where she fell in love with the power of connection and care. And after building a career in corporate marketing and communications, Leslie returned to the industry that shaped her, now leading the PBA with deep experience and an even deeper passion. In this episode, she shares the PBA goals of the year and highlights Cut It Out, their impactful program that trains beauty professionals to recognize and respond to signs of domestic abuse. And it's a powerful conversation about advocacy, purpose, and the role of our industry and what it could do to make real change.
Beauty professionals really are on the front lines in so many ways of finding out things about our clients, whether it is something like domestic abuse or skin cancer or an illness, or you're noticing signs of like hair loss or things on the skin aren't quite right, or that's all our body telling us something. And so what the training does is help the licensed professional understand what to look for in your client. Are you noticing specific changes in behavior? Maybe they used to be really open and now they're not, whatever the signs might be. So it goes over what you could look for. And then more importantly, or not more importantly, but very importantly, what to do about it. A lot of the professionals who have gone through the training have said that they really appreciate having that, because now they know how to handle it.
This was just a taste of everything covered in our full episode. Keep the conversation going on Last Client of the Day, now streaming wherever you get your podcast.